While I love just about every single movie ever made, there are 10 of them that always stand out above the rest. Here are my top 10 favorite movies of all time. Kicking things off at number 10, I have Zombieland. This was my first ever zombie movie. For some reason, after watching it for the first time, I don't know what it was, but I just couldn't get it out of my head. I love the way these four vastly different and quirky people all come together during the zombie apocalypse, create their own little family. The humor and action were on point. I just think of this always as my cheer-up film. Whenever I'm in a funk or just need to get out of a bad mood, I put this on and it usually gets me out of it. Number 9, I got Ghostbusters. One of the definitive movies of the 80s. This will always be one of my favorites. All the characters are fun. The horror, the mystery, the effects, all of it make for an amazing and true movie experience. Next up, I have The Dark Knight. This is Christopher Nolan's masterpiece that forever changed not just the Batman series, but the entire comic book genre in general. The way that Nolan is able to bring Gotham to life in this realistic, dark, gritty way, it's unbelievable. But of course, the biggest and best thing about this movie is Heath Ledger. There really isn't a word for me to tell you how I feel and how much I love this portrayal of the Joker and what Heath Ledger was able to do to elevate not just the character, but his name in the world.
Why so serious? Your man, your plan.
Do I really look like a guy with a plan?
I'm an agent of chaos. Oh, and you know the thing about chaos? It's fair.
Easily my favorite and most quoted villain in all of movie history. At number 7, I have Stand By Me. I was in the 7th grade when I saw this movie, and just like with Zombieland, it is a film that I could not get out of my head. The friendship between the boys, the deep conversations, the beautiful Oregon backdrops, the music, the way it wasn't able to hold back with the heavy themes and the dark humor. From start to finish, I was just in awe of this movie and would ask to rewatch it with my dad any chance I had. Coming in at number 6 is Forrest Gump, a heartbreaking and inspiring story that is carried by Tom Hanks' performance and Robert Zemeckis' direction. The way that both of them were able to make me so emotionally invested in this one guy, in his life, in his relationships with this girl and his lieutenant and this guy in the war, like, it's stupefying. This is another movie I am down to watch anytime, anywhere. Bringing us into the top 5, I have E.T. the Extraterrestrial. It's a movie that I've loved since my childhood. E.T., in my opinion, is the most lovable alien in all of cinema. His bond with Elliot, the atmosphere, the cinematography, the breathtaking John Williams score. It's just one of those classic movies that I'll always love. At number 4, I have Gladiator. This is Ridley Scott's magnum opus that can never be repeated. Russell Crowe and Joaquin Phoenix absolutely knocked their performances out of the park. The cinematography, the visuals, the set design, the action sequences, the gore, and the soundtrack. The soundtrack for this movie is my all-time favorite soundtrack of all time. Whenever people ask me if I could have one song play at my funeral, it would be Now We Are Free. At number 3, I have Guardians of the Galaxy. This was my first ever Marvel movie, and it's the movie that made me fall in love with the genre. The way that James Gunn was able to take this hardly known team and elevate them to what we all know and love about them today is something that only he could do. The classic soundtrack, the breathtaking visuals, the fun and quirky characters. It is one of the most fun and entertaining movies I've ever had the pleasure to watch.
Said it yourself, bitch. We're the Guardians of the Galaxy.
My runner-up at number 2, I have Jurassic Park. This is the pinnacle of the sci-fi genre, the pinnacle of the Steven Spielberg movies, and the pinnacle of cinema in general. This was the first time dinosaurs had ever been brought to the big screen in such a realistic and believable way. But without question, my number 1 favorite movie of all time is Predator. This was my first ever R-rated film. It introduced me to the world of 80s cinema and all the great wonders that it has to offer. It is the perfect balance of action and horror. It starts off as a stereotypical action commando style film, and then it switches gears like that and turns right into a horrifying slasher stalker film. The characters are all great.
Son of a bitch is dug in like an Alabama tick.
You're hit. You're bleeding, man.
I ain't got time to bleed.
The kills are fantastic, the score is fantastic, and of course it gave us The Predator, which is my favorite fictional alien in all of cinema. What are your 10 favorite movies of all time?